Number three reason for why you're not getting the results that you want is having unrealistic expectations, okay? And this is super, super important. Unrealistic expectations have cost me more time and money than anything else in my life. Guaranteed 100%. When I crawled my way out of a very severe depression at 20, I did so with a giant fucking binder of goals and things that I wanted to do on an incredibly unrealistic and unsustainable timeline. Okay, this was before smartphones. So all I had to organize this shit was this giant fucking binder. And needless to say, I accomplished absolutely none of the things in that binder because I had incredibly outrageous, aggressive goals on an insanely close and impossible timeline with absolutely no room for any kind of leisure. It was the most reactionary way out of a depression from, this complete depression to, okay, I'm going to become this absolute workaholic and I'm going to do nothing but, achieve these goals, and I'm going to do it on these unrelenting standards. And of course, the only thing I accomplished was not hitting them and beating myself up for being a failure. All right. But that initial momentum and that was my first step on the path towards self-improvement. And that first step is the where I am today is a direct result of that first step. Okay. It was just a matter of refining my expectations down to what's reasonable and what I can accomplish, and to the point of now where it's rare for me to fail at things because I've got my expectations down to such a razor sharp level where I know what I'm capable of, I know how much time I have in the day, I know how much energy I have, and I've learned so much from all those previous failures. Okay. I've treated those failures as feedback, and if there's one thing that I've done is learn from my experiences, and I tend not to make the same mistake twice. But one thing to be said, and this is very important about unrealistic expectations, is the most important thing is you need to have accurate thinking, okay? When you have unrealistic expectations, your thinking is inaccurate. And if you're putting in the effort and you're putting in the time in every day, you still might not be succeeding because you have unrealistic expectations and you have an inaccurate thinking process, okay? You have to have accurate thinking, and you have to understand your goals with a clear head and a detailed linear process for achieving them. Okay, every major decision you make should go through like a rigorous reality check. Okay, so let me give you an example of what the realistic expectations look like. For, let's say you want to start a new business venture. Here are just some of the questions that you need to ask yourself. Is this possible? Who's excelled at this and how can I model them? How much does the best guy in the industry make? How much does the average guy make? What's the timeline for success? How many hours per day are going to be required to make this happen? Do I have the skill set to make this happen, or is this outside of my limitations? What are my odds of success? Am I passionate enough about this industry to make this, a lifelong pursuit? What's the worst case scenario? Will this put me into debt? Is this worth the opportunity cost of not pursuing something else? What's my exit plan? Okay, these are all the reality check questions that you got to ask yourself before you take something on, right? There's a reason I'm not trying to be a billionaire, because it is not going to fucking happen for me. The reason I'm not trying to make $100 million is that's not going to happen for me either. I have to learn what's in my capabilities, okay? You have to learn what's in your capabilities. If you have the brain of a Mark Zuckerberg, well, then maybe the tech billionaire is in your wheelhouse. For me, I know that playing a fullback in the NFL, being a fullback in the NFL is outside of my limitations. Being a tech billionaire is outside of my limitations. But a results-based personal development company with ethics and with high-quality products where I can make six figures is a 100% within my limitations, at least as far as I'm concerned. You guys can be the judge of whether you think that I'm capable of that, and of the judge of my business. But at the end of the day, I have belief in that, because health, wealth, and relationships is stuff that I've been aggressively interested in for the last 13 years. I live it, I breathe it, I'm passionate about it, I love what I do. I feel like I can write, I feel like I can speak to you guys, I can be engaging, I can present when I get to the point where I do speaking tours and things like that. All my instincts tell me this is possible, and over the last 4 years, I've built a business that's sustaining me and have verified to me that this is possible. But that's come as a result of all these other business failures that I had in the past. I was able to get rid of those unrealistic expectations and generate realistic expectations and accurate thinking, and that's led to success. It's led to success with women, it's led to success in fitness, it's led to success in coming out of being a depressed person to someone who's happy and satisfied with their life. It leads to success in all types of different relationships with people, all these different things, success in my sales career, whatever it is. All that comes from realistic thinking and accurate thinking and realistic expectations. So let me give you some quick examples for your yearly goals. If you've read my article, which I strongly suggest, How to Get Your Life Together, I talk about you need 4 yearly goals per year in order of importance, starting with wealth, health, lifestyle, and finally relationships, with wealth being the number one most important. Let me give you some examples for your yearly goals. 10 pounds of muscle, okay? For 2016, you want to put on 10 pounds of muscle. You want to have sex with 10 new girls in your league, which is like 1 girl per month, even less than that actually. And you want to add $20,000 in extra income to your current income, okay? That if you put in effort and you have realistic expectations, those 3 things are 100% possible, okay? This is 100% possible. This is stuff within your reality if you want it, okay? Maybe 10 pounds of muscle or $20,000 in extra income doesn't sound that exciting to you right now if you have a high bar, okay? And I get it, patience is not one of my virtues either. But 5 years from now, okay, that's 50 pounds of muscle, that's 50 girls that you've had sex with, and that's another $100,000 in extra income, okay? You put those all together, that's serious results. And that's just from doing realistic expectations and making them happen every single year, right? Being on that marathon to success, okay? That's the power of realistic expectations. I would rather to hear you guys set lower goals that you knock out of the park than these crazy goals like I'm going to be a billionaire. Whenever I hear guys tell me that shit, I know that they're not serious. The seriousness comes from having the shit kicked out of you, okay? And I don't want you to have to go through getting the shit kicked out of you. I want you to be on the path from the start, okay? I want you, okay, like, look, I'm not telling you not to aim to be a millionaire, but aim for 6 figures before that, okay? You got to walk before you can run. Aim for 6 figures, and once you hit 6 figures, aim to do 250, and if you do 250, aim for 400 2-3 years down the road, okay? You got to have that reality check for everything, and you got to be on the path to realistic expectations, because otherwise you're a fucking dreamer, and if you're a dreamer, you're not going to succeed in reality. The only place that a dreamer succeeds is in his fucking dreams. And there's a whole industry built around catering to guys like that. I see these self-improvement seminars all over the place. If you want to go to a self-improvement seminar, that's great. But a lot of these guys are like addicted to these seminars, and they're just going and they're just getting pimped on for 3 days, and they just go and they get super motivated and they get super hyped up. But in reality, then they come out of it with these crazy expectations for what's possible. And not everything's possible for everyone, right? Not everyone can be, this crazy success. So you got to look at what's possible for you and what caters to your skill set. Maybe you're a math and science guy. and you can make it happen that way, or you got the personality, you can make it happen in sales. Or maybe you can be that tech billionaire if you have 160 IQ and you can program crazy things. But you got to recognize your expectations, and you got to have, you got to recognize your limitations and have expectations that are in line with your with reality. And you got to do a serious reality check before you start any major venture. And because otherwise, if you don't do that, it could be 2 or 3 years down the road of dreaming and putting all your time to something that wasn't possible in the first place. And all this heartache, all this failure could have been avoided if you've done the proper reality check. Okay, and I'm talking to you from previous painful experience. You know, a lot of things. I have a lot of failures that didn't need to happen if I would have followed, or if I would have even known about, how to do a proper reality check. So you really got to do that. Okay.